Good evening, everyone. Yes, it looks a little bit different this week, doesn't it? Um, yes, I'm basically doing it all on Zoom this week. I've got the pro subscription, so I thought I would, just give it a try and see if I could hook it all up. And
Good evening, everyone.
oh, hang on. Yes, I need to remember to turn the volume down because I'm hearing it coming back and there is a bit of a delay. How is everyone? First of all, let's have a look in the chat as per usual. So let's go into here and there we go. Let's go up here and David Evans first in. Congratulations, mate. Anton, Sean House, Johnny Random, Vincent Brennan. Who else we got? Colin Falcon. Evening, Colin. By the way, I haven't had a drink yet. Let me just... Oh, dear me. Yes. Vincent Brennan, Malcolm Spillett, how are you, mate? Nigel Pickett. Oh, you've been in hospital, have you, mate? 7 weeks. Well, I hope you're on the mend, mate. I hope, whatever put you in hospital has been put right, basically. So who else we got? Andy Hawke, Johnny Random, Phil, Ian Clark, how are you, mate? Malcolm Spillett, Jason Carter, Chip Young, how are you? Whoa, John is in jail. Yeah, it does look a bit like that, doesn't it? I tried doing when I started kind of using Zoom more regularly than Skype and other services. I tried doing a Zoom virtual background, but I just got told your device does not support Zoom virtual background. So I thought, well, I'll get a real one. And 30 quid on Amazon. It's and it does make it look a little bit like I'm in the TARDIS. I said, John, what type of guitar picks do you use, and do they change depending on what you're playing? I use Jim Dunlop Jazz 3s like that, and I use them for everything, no matter what. So that is that's my guitar pick. Let's have the other great thing about doing it on this machine is I'm not kind of squinting over at a tiny laptop screen to read the chat. Yes, that's a bit posh. I wouldn't go that far as I did 30 quid on Amazon. Sound is very clear on Zoom. Yes, I've noticed that because I often record my Zoom lessons for students, and I noticed that the sound is clearer on that than when I record through this very same mic into Audacity for the videos. I have to do a little bit of post-production tidying up when I record it into Audacity, but that's not the case when I'm doing it onto Zoom. So looks like you're in a vocal booth. It does a bit, I suppose, doesn't it? But as I say, it's just a folding room divider from Amazon. Where are we? Looks, I'm on my second beer already. Do I need to seek help? No, you don't. It's Friday. You're allowed to be on your second beer by this time on a Friday. Evening all from West Yorkshire, says Sam Blackwell. Good evening from North Yorkshire, Redcar to be precise. Good evening, Bottleneck Bob. How are you, mate? I used to do Zoom work meetings with a recording studio background. Yeah, I tried doing the, as I said, the virtual background on Zoom, but apparently my PC isn't up to the task, unfortunately. So I thought, well, if I can't use a virtual background, I'll use a real one. Looks like the cover of Tommy. It does a bit, doesn't it? Actually. There you go. Yeah, the chat is lagging. That's the other thing I've noticed, whether it's because I'm doing on Zoom or whatever, or whether it was there anyway. But I'm looking at myself on screen now, and I'm seeing exactly what I was saying 20 seconds ago. So there is a little bit of a delay. I don't know if that's coming through just the data going into Zoom and then out of Zoom and into the YouTube live stream. How long does it take you to know if you like a guitar or not? Had this Cort G290 fat for 3 weeks and still can't make up my mind. I think you've answered your question there, mate. There have been guitars that I've had like that where it ticks all the boxes and I should love it. And yet I always find myself just bypassing it and reaching for another one off the stand. It's just that indefinable kind of X factor, if you'll pardon the expression, that either makes you love a guitar or it doesn't. So, good evening, Deco Dude. How are you? Greetings from Cape Cod, USA. Greetings from another seaside town in the northeast of the UK. John plays by sense of smell. Yes. Yeah, well, fair enough. Yeah, Colin's Falconcaster, that telly mod that Colin did, it's that is a fantastic guitar. I must admit, when I was doing the video, I was thinking, I wonder how much money he'd want for this, but I know it's not for sale, so... You're on the Timothy Taylor's landlord, are you, tonight, Bottleneck? Yeah, well, I am on, let me see. Let's just get one out of the bag here. As you can tell, the lovely chap from Morrison's delivered the groceries this morning, and I'm on the Morrison's export, and I might as well leave that one out the bag because I'm going to need a top-up in them in a moment. Put little lights in the windows and it will look like 2 blocks of flats behind you, John. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Jason. I'm not usually a fan of gold hardware, but just that whole package of Colin's Telecaster was a thing of beauty. And I mean, Colin's had to do some setup work on it as well as the mods. You know, it needed some fret work doing on it and what have you. But you know, I mean, those Bullet Telecasters, they're only just a shade over £100, so you can't complain at that kind of price. If a guitar set up well, should be good. After my Squire Strat was properly set up, fret level, etc., difference was night and day. Amazing guitar now. Yep. And one of my students, actually, a lad called Tim, he's got the a HSS American Performer Stratocaster, which is it's not quite the American Professional. It's just one down from that, and lovely guitar. But the way it had been set up when he got it, it was just, you know, not good, let's say. It wasn't, befitting of a guitar that has a 4-figure price tag. So he took it to, on my recommendation, he took it to a fantastic guitar tech in Middlesbrough, who I'll give a shout out to now, James Bragg. Just Google James Bragg guitars. If you're on Teesside and you need work doing on your guitars, check out James's service. He is incredibly good and very reasonably priced as well. Looks like the giant cheese grater. Oh dear me, you're on the red stripe, are you, Snake Eyes? Dear me, that could get messy, couldn't it? Anyway, usually at this point in the proceedings, I'm forgetting myself, all this talk of the new background and everything, I usually tell you what's coming up on the channel this week. So let's get that out of the way. Recently, in the last week or so, we got a new TV, and clearing out that corner of the living room where the TV is to install a new one and connect it all up and everything. I dug out the old TV cabinet and I found a cassette from, originally from about 1996, 97, and it was an old master tape. From when I used to record on a 4-track Tascam. Was it a Tascam or was it Fostex? One of those old 4-track recorders. and it just had the title of the song written on it. And you know when you get one of those moments where just the slightest little kind of prompt brings back a whole load of memories? And I remembered writing this tune, and I remembered recording the solo on it. So that's what Sunday's video is. It's basically revisiting an old solo of mine from about 1996. And from memory, I think I got it pretty close to how I got it back in, 25 years ago. So that's Sunday's video. Nice little bit of nostalgia for me. Then on Monday, whoever it is, I apologise, I can't remember who it is that ever so often in the chat always says, is it too early to talk about 10cc? Well, we're doing a 10cc solo on Monday. A little bit of Eric Stewart and Graham Gouldman kind of trading licks from Good Morning Judge. Then on Tuesday, I shall be picking my top 5 Brian Setzer performances. And that was, I know I say this every time, but that was probably one of the most tricky ones to narrow down to 5. And I still haven't quite got the list finalised yet. So Brian Setzer on Tuesday. Wednesday, we are looking at Theory again, it being Theory Wednesday. I keep getting requests in to do that. I've got about half a dozen backlogged for kind of theory topic requests on Wednesday. This coming Wednesday, we're going to be looking at the sometimes confusing aspect of minor keys. The melodic minor, the harmonic minor, the natural minor. What are they? How do they work? And what chords do they give you? And how do you play over them? And all that sort of stuff. So that's Wednesday's video. On Thursday, I'm kicking off a new series on Thursday where it's going to be. Do you remember when I bought that? Hang on, let me go and grab it. This guitar, this Sub-Zero Paradigm, this kind of P90 semi-acoustic Telecaster thing. Okay, right. Well, the reason I bought that guitar was because I'd had a good month, basically. I'd had, a little bit more money coming in, and I wanted to treat myself to something. So I thought, well, I'm not alone in that. We all get that nice little kind of windfall every now and again. It might be, you might have come home from Ladbrokes with a nice little earner, a nice little win or something like that, or it might be, a scratch card or something, and you might want to treat yourself. So I'm kicking off on Thursday a series of videos about you're a guitar player and you've got 100 quid, as it will be on Thursday, to kind of treat yourself to something. What do you buy? Okay, so little kind of a series of videos about, what can you get for 100 quid? It'll be on Thursday, be it a guitar, an amp, a pedal, or whatever. And there's a lot of choice out there, it has to be said. 10cc used a mechanical sustainer thing, didn't they? Yeah, you're talking about the Gizmotron that Godley and Cream invented, and then I think that was part of the reason why they wrapped in with 10cc. Graham Gouldman is a massively underrated guy, should be up there with the greats. No Milk Today is a classic. Yeah, this is it. I mean, he was, he is a prolific songwriter, and wrote for tons of other people when he was like really, really young. Wasn't he writing songs for the Hollies when he was like a teenager or something? I think that's incredible. Hi, John and chaps from the UK. It's strange not having had 3 hours on the time. Oh, yes, that's Michael. Mike, you're usually in... is it Jordan or is it Amman? I'm not sure. I can't remember. But somewhere in that neck of the woods. Back in the UK. Paul Bush saying, I started with a Tascam 4-track, years later a Fostex 8-track reel-to-reel and quarter-inch, and now the fantastic Cakewalk Bandlab is a great songwriting tool. Yeah, I used Cakewalk for many years. When I got my first PC in 2000, I tried using Cubase, and I suspect it was mainly because I was a PC novice. I couldn't get it to work. And then I got hold of a copy of Cakewalk Pro Audio 9, and it just worked. So, you know, I stuck with Cakewalk for years and years and years and years. And then I just decided to check out Reaper because everybody was recommending it, and I checked it out and I thought, this is brilliant. It was just so intuitive and configurable. It was, so I've been with Reaper ever since. By the way, just let me remind you, don't forget the live event, the in-person, the in real life event, for those of you who are close enough to Redcar to be able to attend, will be happening on Friday the 27th of August. That's the Friday of the last, I think it's the Friday of the bank holiday weekend at the back end of August. And basically the plan is that we are going to all meet up, those of us who can make it, and have a few beers and go for a curry and either live stream part of it or possibly just kind of take some video footage of it and put a video out of that. Basically a grand time will be had by all. I'll organise it in a little bit more detail, as we go along, basically like which pub we're going to meet up in and what time and all that sort of stuff. I'll also, and I forgot to do this week, for those of you who are going to need accommodation to stay up here, I'll also put a link up on the community tab on YouTube for, places to stay in Redcar. There's tons of bed and breakfasts up here, and they're all very reasonably priced if you need somewhere to crash for the night. So, I mean, unfortunately, excuse me, hay fever's been bad today. Unfortunately, I live in a very small 2-up, 2-down house, and I can't really offer accommodation to people, but there's plenty to choose from up here, and it would be great to see as many of you as can make it, really. Good old Pro Audio 9, loved it, says Nightwish Lover. I was stumped with Reaper today. I loaded a MIDI file but couldn't hear any playback. Yes, did you insert an instrument onto the track where you'd put the MIDI file onto? You can load the MIDI into a track, but if you don't put an instrument on that track, you won't hear any playback. Fun Loving Crims did a great cover of 10cc. I didn't know that. Are we meeting in O'Grady's, John? I think that might be, as good a place as any. I was thinking either O'Grady's or the Gypsy Rover or maybe Rita's Pantry. Sorry, I'm just going to go through all a list of pubs in Redcar at the moment. But yeah, probably O'Grady's is as good a place as any. Sorry if you've answered this already, but which plugins do you use on Reaper? Okay, for my drums, I use a free drum VST called MT Power Drum Kit, which, yes, you can tell it's MIDI drums, if you listen closely, but it does what I need it to do to get the fast turnaround that I need for getting a music done for a video or something, and it's not a bad sound. For guitar amp simulations, I still quite enjoy the Blue Cat free amp. I think that's a great little free VST for getting a good guitar tone. Alongside that, I'll also use Positive Grid Bias Amp 2 or Guitar Rig. Guitar Rig is good if you just want something that's just like a ready-made sound. Okay, if I'm using Bias Amp, then or Blue Cat free amp, then you can craft the sound a little bit, to get the core amp sound, and then add just the native reverbs and delays from Reaper. But if you just want something that's got like kind of a good amp sound, a good impulse response, and delay, reverb, whatever, all in one little preset that you can just do with a single mouse click, then Guitar Rig's good for that. Does Rita have a large pantry? She's in for a shock. Yeah, about this kind of meetup. In all of my videos and everything, and in the description for this live stream, there's the website address down there. There's an email form on the website. If you can let me know if you're going to turn up, and then I'll kind of have a rough idea of numbers. And basically, I mean, just booking the table in the curry house, it would be nice to know how many people are going to turn up. So just give us a shout and let me know if you intend to try and make it, and then I can make the logistics run a little bit smoother. 10cc were years ahead of their time for recording techniques. I saw them back when bands first started to get their world tours sponsored. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. 10cc. I can't remember who it was who said it, but someone in a guitar magazine years ago, I think it was in a Graham Goldman interview, actually, described them as the British Steely Dan. And I think that's possibly a little bit of a stretch, because I don't think they were quite as jazz influenced as Steely Dan. But, you can see where that's coming from. You can see the kind of parallel there. Hi John, my THR-10C and V100 are making some very bad noises after dark. Cheers, says Ian. Oh yes, we were doing that song in the lesson the other day, weren't we? What's that? I just plug my Sonicake Rockstage into Reaper with a cab sim on, and then add some noise gate compression and EQ and delay. Yep, a lot to be said for that. That's pretty much how I used to record for many years, but instead of the Sonicake Rockstage, I was using the Vox Tone Lab. I must admit, though, I do these days, since I've started using amp sim plugins, I do like the option to change the amp sound, to think, what, maybe this would sound better through a Marshall, or maybe this would sound better through a Fender Twin, or maybe this would sound better through a Boogie, and just being able to kind of go in and just think and just change the amp model in Reaper after the fact. That to me is it can lead to option anxiety, where you start thinking, well, maybe I'll just try one more patch. Maybe I'll just try one more preset to see if I can get it a little bit better. But, so you got to watch for that. But it does get you out of a hole sometimes, when sometimes you think, yeah, that sounded good in isolation, but in the mix, it just needs to be a little bit tweaked a bit, where are we? Loved Rubber Bullets back in my school days. Yeah, I mean, I think that was 1973. I remember that being on, on the radio and on Top of the Pops and all over the place. And it was just, they were a new band back then. And, it was just great stuff. I mean, that's the sort of stuff that used to get into the hit parade back, as it was called back in those days. Wouldn't happen now, would it? Squeeze are another great British band. Indeed, they are. It's I love Squeeze. I saw them actually in Middlesbrough at some point. This will have been about 93, and Paul Carrack was on vocals with them at the time. Good evening. I see Mike, China Guitar Mike, is in. How are you, mate? I hope you've got a beer with you. Das Schaff can't beat Ampex for tape recording. I've liberated some of the designs for guitar amps. Okay, mate. Well, I don't know if I've ever recorded to Ampex. I probably have in some studio at some point. But whatever happened to talent, says Malcolm Spillett. Yes, well, ask Mr. Cowell that one. Colin saying, at CGS, are you the real CGS or a Chinese copy? Yeah, Black Coffee in Bed's a great tune. I honestly can't think of a Squeeze song that I don't like. I really can't. I mean, Up the Junction. It's a masterpiece of a pop song, and it shouldn't work because where's the chorus? And everything is just sort of mismatched. There's no kind of nice, neat 8-bar kind of verse and 8-bar chorus or anything like that. And that detour that goes off on in the middle 8 section where it's changing keys every bar, it just shouldn't work, but it does, and I love that I've said this many times. I love complex stuff that doesn't appear to be complex. John, you're a hardtail man, aren't you? Think of getting a Duesenberg Les Trem. Well, there's a student of mine. He had to stop coming because of the whole COVID thing. Because he used to come to the house, and bless him, he's not particularly on board with Zoom or anything like that. And he had a Harley Benton SG copy. I forget what the actual designation is, but it's the Harley Benton that looks like a Gibson SG. And he put the Duesenberg Les Trem on that, and I was thinking, and he brought it into the lesson. I thought, this is going to be a disaster. This is just going to kind of, go immediately out of tune the moment you even breathe heavily on the trem. So I started playing on it, and I was doing not sort of Van Halen dive bombs and stuff like that, but I was doing. I think I ended up playing, the Wicked Game riff, Chris Isaac, on it, and it just came back in tune every time. So and that was that Duesenberg trem. So I've tried one on one guitar, and I had a very, very good experience with it. So yeah, crack on, mate. I remember Cool for Cats on pink vinyl. Yes, those were the days, weren't they? Yeah. What you're saying, Brad? When I lived in Adelaide, Squeeze played back in 79-80 with Jules Holland on keyboards. Yeah, he was in and out of that band a couple of times, wasn't he, Jules? Yeah, again, we could sit here for the whole hour and talk about great Squeeze songs, and maybe we should do that at some point. But I genuinely think that Glenn Tilbrook and Chris Difford are up there with. It's a big old bold claim to say that they're up there with Lennon and McCartney, but I kind of think that they are. Maybe not in terms of popularity, but or kind of units of records sold. But it's just in terms of their songwriting ability, I think that they're fantastic. Anyone watch the Rick Beato Most Complex Pop Song of All Time? Did my head in. Yeah, I watched that. I think it was it last night or the night before? I'd had a long, hard day at the coalface, sitting here doing guitar lessons, and I just needed to chill out, and so I put YouTube on and came across that video, and I must admit, I'd had some of the old Highland Spirit at the time, and I think I may have to watch it again to get the full impact. But yeah, That is an incredibly complex song. I remember the song as well, actually, from whenever it was, the early 80s. And yeah, would a song like that get into the top 40 these days? Well, I think we know the answer. Yeah, Jules' big band. I mean, I don't know about. I mean, I know it's a little bit, previous. We're kind of talking about Christmas and New Year, but I suppose, like most people in the UK, Jules' Hootenanny, the New Year's Eve show is required viewing in our house, and that big band sound that he has. I mean, he kind of, I would say, he made that whole big band swing thing. He made it cool again, didn't he? Because I suppose there were inklings of that in the early 90s, before Jules kind of started getting some traction with that. I'm thinking of like Harry Connick Jr. And that style of thing. But, Jules kind of really catapulted that into the mainstream. I mean, with that first big band, was it Small World Big Band album that he came out with, where he had all the guest appearances. I've still got that album and I still listen to it all the time. It's a fantastic album, and it just made a modern audience realize that how great that kind of music was. And I remember my mother, she was still alive at the time. I remember buying her that album, and she was massively unimpressed. And she said, "Well, that's just copying what Glenn Miller did when I was a lass." She was a difficult woman to please, my mother. Hootenanny, says Bob. Yeah, Hootenanny. I'll tell you the most disappointing thing I found out about Hootenanny, and I only discovered it last year, is it's recorded in October. It's just, I always assumed it was live, and just this. It's a little bit disappointing when you find out that it's pre-recorded, and everybody's wishing everybody Happy New Year on October the 17th or whenever it's actually videoed. Here's the thing: classical music can be very complex and still around centuries later. A lot of this pop stuff these days is forgotten in 5 minutes. Yeah. And the thing is, there are some great melodies in the classical canon. About 20 years ago, I decided to get over myself a little bit, and I thought, I'm a musician. I should know about music, especially since I teach it. And until then, classical music was just this boring stuff that we were force-fed at school, and I kind of rebelled against it a little bit. So I just started listening to Classic FM, and you just realise just how many great tunes there are. There you go. It opened a bit of a door for me. No, it's not live, Bob. It's pre-recorded, I'm afraid. Apparently Bach played pentatonics. Yeah, he did. But then again, that's like, if you delve into the history of music, then the pentatonic scale is the precursor to everything that we do. The fascinating thing for me, I mean, in Western culture, we know about the pentatonic scale essentially because Pythagoras figured out all the mathematics of it, and then if you extend Pythagoras's calculations, you end up with the modern musical system that we've got, with one or two little kind of tweaks. There is something called the Pythagorean comma that you've got to kind of get past. But anyway, the fascinating thing for me is that if you look at indigenous music across the world, whether it's Chinese folk music, Japanese indigenous music, African indigenous music, Celtic music, all of these different musical cultures that all evolved separately. They all use the pentatonic scale. And for me, that is just a mind-blowing thing that it's just something that's this one pentatonic thing. These 5 notes are hardwired into us as a species, and I don't know if anybody's old enough to remember. I certainly am. The movie Close Encounters of a Third Kind. You know that da 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 riff in that. Guess what that uses? The pentatonic scale. So, there's the even little green men from the planet Zarg use the pentatonic scale. Where are we? Okay, Andy. Well, fair enough, mate. Thank you. I'm pleased. I did a video on the pentatonic scale ages ago. I think I called it the mathematics of music or something like that, which was, back when I used to sit here, much as I am now, blethering into a webcam and putting it up on YouTube with awful lighting and horrible sound in those videos. But I did a video back then about that. I might revisit it and might kind of redo that topic, because for me, as I've said before, I was always the kid who got a bike for Christmas, and by Boxing Day the bike was always in bits, and I'd pulled it apart to see how it worked. And I think I've always wanted to know how stuff works and why it works. So that's why I kind of became a bit of a theory nerd, I guess. So, I did that video on the mathematics of music. There's a fantastic documentary, actually. You might want to check it out. Howard Goodall. I think it's Howard Goodall's Big Bangs, where he talks about equal temperament. Brilliant, about 45 minutes to an hour video on YouTube that you might want to check out. It's, as I said, I find it fascinating anyway. Without getting too deep, string theory is all about vibrations, as is music, I think. Yes, oh dear me. Now, when you start talking about subatomic theory, that's where I kind of start zoning out. I would like to be able to understand it, but I can't remember who said it. Somebody said, if you think you understand quantum theory, you don't understand quantum theory. So I think somebody said there's some Mozart guitar solos. Yeah, I did a Mozart piece once just for a bit of daft. I might see if I can dig that out. John, apart from the pawn shop telly, what's the biggest bargain you got in guitar gear? I picked up a Harley Benton Strat and Blackstar Fly for 90 quid combined last week. That is a good deal, mate. I think I'd struggle to beat that. Best bargain I've ever had. Well, honestly, I think the charity shop guitar is going to take the biscuit, because that's still here. That's still knocking around as Frankenstein. The Frankenstein Telecaster. After that, I mean, this is going to seem like me just doing a shameless plug, but I would say probably Blondie here. The Scott Guitars John Robson signature model. I mean, for what they cost, those guitars are $13.50 to buy from Dan. Okay, and think of another guitar you can get for that price. And yes, I paid for mine. I did. And yes, I get a little bit of a commission on each one that gets sold, but I paid street price for mine, and it's, when you consider the amount of guitar you're getting for your money, that's a $4,000 Sir or something like that, and it's the same sort of price as a as an American professional Telecaster. So if you're talking bargains, I mean, there you go. Hi, John. Have you ever played a Phoenix Tele? If so, what do you think? That was my introduction to Telecasters. That Phoenix brand of Strat and Telecopies in the early 90s. That was when I first began to realise that okay, cheap guitars can be good. Yeah, I had one. It was a top loader bridge, which I got converted into a string through body by a fantastic guitar tech on Teesside, who's no longer with us, sadly. The late lamented Jim Cairns. But yeah, that was a great guitar. It was one of my gigging guitars. This was, as I say, in the early to mid 90s when I was out playing with at one point I think I was in 4 bands simultaneously. Me and me little Marshall valve state amp at the time. And yeah, great guitars. I shall have to go on eBay and see if I can pick one up, and just for nostalgia value. Where are we? The way you teach music theory is fantastic. It helped me so much. Well, thank you, Craig. I mean, people, without wishing to blow my own trumpet, often say that I do a good job of teaching music theory. But I just teach it the way I understand it, and for me, it's easy to get my head round. So I teach it in the way that I understand it, that makes sense to me. And if that makes sense to you, then, well, I'm pleased. Thank you. Where are we? Excuse me, the chat's zooming by a bit fast. John, how's your lovely wife doing, mate? Yes, she's fine. She's home from hospital. She was in hospital last week, for those of you who don't know, to have a knee replacement operation done. And yeah, it's been a bit rough. She's, it's obviously her knee has been boned and filleted. And it's not a pleasant operation, but it needed doing. But yeah, she's doing fine. She's on a lot of pain meds at the moment, and it's a little bit better every day. Thank you for asking. Where are we? Have you ever tried a Gretsch Malcolm Young signature guitar? Picked one up 3 weeks ago. What a guitar. Would sound better if you're playing it, but God, it's good. No, I haven't. It's not a guitar that's ever been on my radar, really. I don't know why. But it is the engine room of AC/DC's tone, though, isn't it? I mean, we all tend to think of AC/DC, that's a Gibson SG, But, when you think about it, it's 50% of the AC/DC sound is that Gretsch. Excuse me, I've just seen my name flash past there up the chat. John, your Circle of Fifths, excuse me, I've had a beer. Your Circle of Fifths video was the best I've seen on YouTube. Thank you. Well, thank you very much. Do you ever lose patience with pupils who don't put in the practice? I used to, but, it's when you're in the very fortunate position that I'm in, where I, wake up on a morning and I think, what am I going to spend my day doing today? Okay, yeah, playing the guitar. It's very easy for. Oh, thank you, Mike. It's very easy to kind of get sort of blinkered and think that everybody has the luxury of putting in that amount of practice that I have time to do. In my experience, you can tell the people who are just not really committed. So what I do is I have a polite conversation and just say, look, it's going to take more commitment than it appears you're putting in at the moment, and you need to have a think about whether it's something you really want to do. It's best not to fall out with people, basically. But those people are in a minority anyway. I find most people, they've got lives to lead. They've got jobs to do. They've got kids to look after. They've got, stuff to do. So when people turn up for a lesson and say, I haven't managed to do much practice this week, well, fair enough. Let's kind of help you on your way. Let's show you how you can get the most out of your practice time. Thank you, Jason. Thank you. That will go to Zoe's place. What I usually do with these super chat donations is any from tonight basically will come in on next month's YouTube payout, and I tot them all up, and I ping off a donation to Zoe's place with a little bit added on as well. Where are we? Love and healing vibes to the lovely Mrs. Robson. Oh, thank you, Peter. Thank you. Yes, I'm treating her to a curry tonight. It's curry night in the Robson household tonight. Yes, I'm just going to tap the old app in a moment. Well, as soon as we've finished here, and then there will be what we're having tonight. I think she's having a chicken tikka, and I might have. I'm feeling brave tonight, so it might be a madras. And and then there shall be some more beer. Missed last week's stream. Hope your wife is okay. All the best to you both, John. Well, thank you very much, Craig. It is massively appreciated, mate. It really is. Anyway, excuse me. I'm just doing some housekeeping here. I'm just noticing because this is a different way of doing it to normal. As I say, I'm doing it on Zoom this week, so I've got to kind of toggle between two windows that I've got open, and I'm seeing that we've got 391 playbacks already before I've even finished the stream. 395 people are playing it back. To put this into perspective, right? Okay, I do a video on Monday. I do the solo analysis video on Monday. I do the top 5 kind of thing on a Tuesday. I do theory Wednesday. I do some sort of gear related video on a Thursday. Those are all usually, thank you, Dash Shaft. Those are all usually kind of 10-15 minute videos, and there might be a day's work goes into each one. And then I do an hour video on a Friday. There's no preparation. I just sit here and drink beer, and quite often that's the top rated video for the week. It's just maybe I should do 5 live streams a week. You're having burgers tonight, are you, Andy? Yeah, we had those the other night. I've got if this is a bit off topic, I don't know about talking about guitars and stuff, but I've got very snobbish about me burgers. I will only buy the best Aberdeen Angus burgers, or I'll make me own, and they've got to be slow cooked, on an iron skillet, over a period of time where you're basting them with kind of the meat juices and stuff, and then you put them in a proper ciabatta roll, with salad and it's glorious. But you just think it's a burger, Steak, chips, and salad for the Spillett household. Yeah, that's what we're having on Sunday, mate. Yes, there's a couple of. I am in no way affiliated with this supermarket, but I will just tell you that, in my opinion, Aldi do the best steaks you can buy. So go to Aldi about once a month and stock up on all of the kind of the Aldi sort of stuff, and always get a freezer full of steaks from Aldi, and we're having those on Sunday. steak, chips, bit of Caesar salad. Oh dear me, what's not to like? But would you have a McD's at a push? I must admit, I prefer Burger King. I must admit, it's in the Great Burger Wars. I prefer Burger King. It has to be said, mainly because you get more. If you eat a McDonald's burger, you're hungry again a couple of hours later. Burger King, not so much. John MasterChef Robson. I got food poisoning from a German sausage. I'm over the worst. Oh, here we go. Ba-da-dum-sh. Jalfrezi, the best until the next morning. Yes, indeed. I think we've all suffered from that one. Yes, put the Andrex in the fridge. And it's... John, try brioche rolls for your burgers. Lovely. Yeah, I like a brioche for a burger roll, but the thing is, you've got to get a nice one. Sometimes you get a brioche and it's a bit stale sometimes. So I just find a safe bet is the ciabatta. You get your steaks straight from the farm that reared it. Well, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, we have a butcher in town that rears their own steak. But the problem with them is that if you go in after, say, about 11 a.m. on a weekday, all of the stuff that because it's in demand, it's all sold out. Where are we? Do piazza translates to 2 onions. I didn't know that. I honestly didn't know that. John, Mel Brooks' classic comedy western is on BBC iPlayer to watch now. Are we talking Blazing Saddles there? Anyway, chaps, let's count up. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those are all the beers, I'm afraid, that I brought up with me to the live stream this evening. So I'm out of beer. And that means that we're going to have to wrap things up early, I'm afraid, because, I need more beer and, it's, sadly, there is no more to be had. I'm going to have to go out and get some. So thank you once again, everyone, for turning up and watching a fat, bald northern lad taught cobblers for an hour on YouTube. It is incredibly gratifying to me that you seem to like watching me kind of doing these kind of things. I am incredibly grateful. Thank you everyone for turning up. It is a real privilege to have this back and forth with you on every Friday. I will keep on doing it as long as you chaps seem to be enjoying it. But for now, I'm going to bid you all a good day, and I'll see you all again on the Sunday video, and I'll see you all again live next week. But for now, I'll just take this opportunity to say thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. And time, gentlemen, please.